But first, we go to Chief Political Correspondent Carl Cameron, who is in Denver, where Donald Trump is holding a rally tonight. Hi, Carl.
Hi, Shannon. The Trump campaign's strategy has long been to focus on 4 key states that they have to win: Florida, Ohio, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Trump was in Hershey, Pennsylvania last night. This morning he was in Tampa, Florida. He was also in North Carolina in a subsequent event, but he started the day in Tampa, which is right on the I-4 corridor in Florida, the biggest concentration of voters, very demographically similar to the rest of the country. Whoever wins I-4 corridor in Florida tends to win Florida. Whoever wins Florida tends to win the presidency. And he'll be going to Ohio a number of times before the election day. But in Tampa this morning, he suggested a change of plans. He wasn't going to make a stop in Wisconsin. That's been canceled. Instead, he's going to a state where Democrats have been winning for decades. Listen to this.
We're going to be doing at least 5 of these today. The arenas are all packed all over the country. And we're going into different locations. We're going into what they used to call Democrat strongholds, where we're now either tied or leading. We're going to Minnesota. We're going up to Minnesota, which traditionally has not been Republican at all.
And that has a lot of Republicans scratching their heads, wondering if this is a smart move or whether it's a gamble not worth taking. Minnesota hasn't voted Republican in more than 25 years. And right now, the average of recent polls in Minnesota show that Hillary Clinton has about a 4 or 5 point lead. That's still in the individual polls, that would still be a marginal race. And when you look at all the battleground states and the national numbers, Shannon, essentially every single one shows that these 2 candidates are within the margin of error. And it bears repeating. When we talk about the margin of error, it says the little numbers at the bottom of the screen or in your newspaper, and it says plus/minus. That doesn't mean plus or minus. It means plus and minus. So you can add 3 points to one candidate and take 3 points away from the other and create a much bigger gap. It doesn't necessarily close the gap. A 3.5% margin of error is actually a 7-point spread that can be between the 2 candidates. So it is entirely possible that this race is much tighter than we know from the polls. It's also possible that Hillary Clinton could be further ahead than Trump if the numbers were to be used in the plus or minus against Donald Trump. So going to Minnesota is a gamble. It suggests that they think that they're doing very well in states where Hillary Clinton should be far ahead. If that's the case, all he has to do is make sure he wins Florida. That was a state that Obama won in 2012. Make sure he wins North Carolina. That's a state that Romney won in 2012. He's got to win Ohio. That's one that he has to, that was also Republican. But then there's Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, Hillary has been outside the margin, leading in a number of polls recently. That's a tough piece of ground, so it may be that Trump is deciding, well, perhaps Pennsylvania's slipping away. I'll go give it a shot in Minnesota and Michigan. Shannon?
All right, Carl Cameron on the campaign trail, just days to go, and we'll see if those polls are right or wrong. Thank you, Carl.